Welcome back to your weekend. Well, come January 1, working in California is going to be a whole new ballgame for a lot of us. Major employment law changes promise to overhaul the gig economy, and there's some significant changes to our privacy laws and workplace harassment. Attorney Angela Reddock-Wright breaks it all down for us and explains why it may be time to hire a lawyer. All right, Angela, there's been so much talk about AB5. That's the gig worker bill. We're going to get to that. But let's start with this new California Consumer Privacy Act. What does this mean for all of us and our data on the internet?
Right. So very much like Europe, California is now taking an aggressive posture to protect consumers in California. So what happens with this law is companies now have a duty to advise consumers of how they are using our data. So when we go to Best Buy or Target or any store and we hand over our data through a purchase, those companies now will have a duty to let us know how they're using that. Are they selling that information? But however it's being used, we now have a right to know. So what I imagine will happen starting January 1st is that we'll start to get notices from anyone that has our information saying, we have your information and this is how we intend to use it. Are you okay with that? And if not, let us know so you have the opportunity to opt out.
So you will be able to opt out of certain things and say still be on Facebook or still use Amazon?
Yes, but now this law gives us the power to sue in the event that our data is breached or in the event that the information is used in a way that we did not agree to.
Let's talk about AB5. So January 1st, if you're one of those folks out there who maybe even occasionally drives for Uber and Lyft, what happens?
Right. Essentially what it does is it places a burden on employers that if you have individuals working for you, the assumption is that they are an employee unless they meet a certain test. And it's really trying to protect against employers automatically classifying individuals as independent contractors. So there are three prongs to that, to the case called the ABC test. And so employers, if you own your own business, you need to ask yourself three questions. One, am I exercising control over this person? Meaning, am I requiring them to come to work at a certain time every day? Do I require them to work from my facility, to use my equipment? If so, that person is probably an employee. The second prong of the test is this something that you would normally have someone that works for you doing? So for example, if you would normally have a receptionist and you hire someone as a contractor to be your receptionist, they probably are not a contractor. They're probably an employee. And then the third question is this person that you're hiring to do special work for you, is this a business that they're actually in? Meaning, do they have a website? Do they have business cards? Do they have insurance? Are they providing this service to other clients? So if the person meets all the components of what we consider to be someone truly in business for themselves, then you probably can classify them as a contractor. But if not, the law presumes that they are an employee. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this folds out.
All right, and before we wrap up, I do want to get to the SHARE Act. That's the Stop Harassment and Reporting Extension Act, which basically gives you more time to file complaints about your employer, right?
Yes, yes. This is huge. Since 1963, the laws have been in place that if you have a claim for discrimination or harassment against your employer, you have 1 year from the date of whatever the last act was to pursue an administrative claim for discrimination or harassment against your employer. What this law does is it provides you a total of 3 years to pursue an administrative claim for harassment or discrimination against your employer.
All right, so a lot going on in 2020 and a lot that we don't know how it's going to play out. So thank you so much for coming on, Angela, and explaining everything.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll have you on again as this all kind of shakes out.
Yes, it's going to be an explosive year in California.